Welcome to Module 8. Here's some videos I'm going to make. Before I start anything, and I'm going to start off with something similar to numbers 1, 2, and 6. If I were to give you an example problem to do, and I said, let's do 4x plus 2y equals 16, and I told you that y was going to be 6. Well, I would then ask you, how much is the value of x? Calculate x. Tell me how much it is. Well, what you would do is take your 6 for the y and plug it in. So you'd have 4x plus 2. I'm going to do my plug-in here. My 6 equals 16. And there we actually got rid of one of the variables. So the y is gone because I know the value of it. I have 4x plus 12 equals 16. So subtract 12 from both sides. Get 4x equals 4. Divide by 4 on both sides to get x equals 1. So I know in this problem that if x equals 1, y is going to equal 6. Now, to make it a little bit go further on in this, in examples 1, 2, and 6, you don't start off knowing the value of either x or for y. What's going to happen is they're going to give you an equation like they do in in this whole, like 1 through 8, but specifically at 1, 1, 2, and 6, where you need to do a plug-in like this. And I'm saying do a plug-in because you already know that x equals some quantity. So it's set up that you have either x equals or y equals on 1, 2, and 6. So one equation's like this. Let's see, 56. Okay, so the equations are kind of like this. Again, remember this example is not in the homework, but rather, so I know how much x equals. So I know that x equals this whole quantity. So I'm going to plug this whole quantity into there. So I'm going to do 6. I'm going to plug in all of that. I'm going to do some distributing, and if you look now, we only have one variable left. We have y, and if the one variable is there, we can solve an equation in one variable. So like terms 12y plus 8y is 20y plus 24 equals 56. Minus 24 from both sides to get 20y equals 32. Divide out from there. Y equals 32 over 20, which is, let's see here, 16 over 10, 8 over 5. So it's 1.6 as a decimal. Okay, so I know that for y. So now it's like going back to this problem that I did at the beginning. You know the value of one variable. I know y is 1.6. Now the other thing I need to figure out is the x. And I go back to either equation I began with, and I figure out which one looks easier to do. I think it's the top one because I already know x equals and just plug it into this side. So I would do 2 times 1.6 and then add 4. So I get 3.2 plus 4, I get 7.2. Now don't worry, a lot of your problems aren't necessarily decimals, but that's what this problem is like. And now a little bit more basic. So that's very similar to like number 6. I do want to show you another example for number 2 because things or like 1 and 2, because things do tend to get a little bit confusing. If you have something like y equals x minus 2, and then I have x plus y equals 18. Now this is very similar to 1 and 2 because I'm just going to plug this part in for the y, and there's no numbers, there's no coefficients in front. So what I would do is just take this and plug it in for the y, because that's the equals, this is what it equals, so I have my plug-in, x plus, plug in for the y, take the y out, plug in. I'm plugging in x minus 2. Now the only reason I'm doing parentheses here is to show you where I'm plugging this in. I'm taking this, plugging it in here. Nothing to distribute, so I'm going to drop my parentheses. And this one, they're not important because there's no number in front. It was just to show you that I'm plugging in all of that. Like terms, I have x and x, which is 2x, plus 2 to both sides. 2x equals 20, so x equals 10. So I know the x value for sure is 10. You always need to figure out the other one. If x is 10, I'm going to plug it in here. So that one looks easier because I know y equals whatever I do on this side. So y equals 8 for this one. So that is that's what we do when we plug in. This is called substitution. Substitution is just plugging in something for one of the variables.